Well, hello, and welcome back. Okay, this music's weird. We're going to change it. There we go. We're just changing it. Okay. So, we're continuing on with this Go API, and it's kind of in a good place. I think actually I might just need to deploy it now. Last night I didn't get there because my eyes were betraying me. My eyes were so heavy. I could not keep my eyes open. Mentally I was there, but it was I don't know how to explain it. I'm sure if you're a late night coder, you've experienced it before. But yeah, my eyes would just not stay open. So I had to end. All right, but before we do anything else, let's make sure that we down our ever important word from the bottle. Mr. Mountain Dew. Pop a top, my friends, as we open focus. So, what do y'all think about Rust deciding that if you own a firearm, you're not welcome to use it? Oh, man. That Rust stuff is crazy. It's like a bunch of wacko, you know, college kids that have no idea what the real world is like, and I don't know how they would exist. You know, it's like it's like people who are born of San Francisco. They just pop into existence without a mother or a father, and they're born into San Francisco, and the propaganda is their law. It's like a bunch of those people got together. And because at first, when people were, seeing all this stuff about the Rust, the new Rust policies, I thought, okay, they're probably just taken out of the context. It's got to be, it can't be that bad. It's not going to be crazy. No, it's crazy. It's bat ape crazy. So if you haven't heard about the Rust controversy, it is bat ape crazy. It is insane. I mean, if you want to use the word Rust in your blog, I mean, they just you can't hold a Rust meetup unless the meetup has an indoctrination policy, and and you don't allow firearms. Which I mean, if you're in a state that allows firearms, then the state's gonna have. What does Rust have to do with firearms? Like, okay. I just don't think a lot of criminals find out about Rust meetups. And obviously I don't think a lot of criminals obey. I don't think the criminals read the code of conduct before they go. But I don't think there's a lot of criminals at Rust meetups. I think that it requires a level of planning that professional criminals who have that level of planning, they probably aren't looking to hit up the Rust meetup. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, so that stuff's just crazy. And I'm glad to see that everybody's up in arms about it, because what would be much worse is if people were just like, oh, this is fine, which has happened with some pretty crazy stuff. But anyway, let's see. Any updates before we get started? The last server's finally here. There's a couple of adapters and some cables. Just a few things that we'd forgotten about that, oh, yeah, we need this. But that's coming together. So I'll text my guy and find out what our date is. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, and let me go ahead and get back into here. Do I want to be in this one right now? I think I do. Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, I do. So what am I looking for? Actually, I'm going to ping somebody real quick just to ask. Well, let's see. Let me take a look. Before I ping, let's just look at what comes out here. Where was it? Out here. So I have it print out all the routes that are registered every time it starts up. And I think it's fine that we don't have an individual. We need to test that. We have a way to add roles. We probably need a way to add individuals and add organizations independently of each other. And we probably need a way to create a relationship. There's a couple of things we could do. I think we should just deploy it. I think that's what we need to do at this point. I think it needs to get deployed. PR needs to get merged. So let me think about that. What do we need to do to deploy this? And where can we deploy it? And let's see. I think there are some things that it would be good to have, I guess, as fixtures. We need some way to process information. I don't think we're going to handle that yet. I think I need to deploy this, and I need to add some just really simple. Let's see. We've got our SDK, which apparently I don't have installed anymore. No, was it? Location equals global Savvy CLI, maybe? Okay, I need to make a Savvy CLI. That's one thing that I need to do. So I need to get that up on the docket for the short term. Okay, that's going to take all day. Excellent. Nothing lost there. Okay, good. So, Savvy, usage, login, services. I think we got rid of that one, actually. And we're doing staging. Okay, that might exist on staging. Staging is basically development. There's some stuff that we need to figure out. Okay, where is my email for that? Oh, I don't get the email for that. Right. Okay. So what I need is, do I even need to do that? So we have a little SDK that will return tokens with different bits on them. So do we have, let me check again. What do we have here? Savvy help. Hey, what's up, Elon? You're available for freelancing after April. Okay, what kind of stuff do you want to do? Do you want to join in on Dash Incubator and grab some tests there? Okay, and we need to, all right, we've got the impersonate bit here. So Savvy, login, impersonate. I don't remember how this option worked. Let me check and see what that option does. Or maybe not. Okay. Wait, I don't need a login token to get public stuff. What is it doing? I need to fix that, I guess. All right, let's do this again. Let's do ask. Yes. All right, now I can check my code because I can actually get my code. All right. Which one? Ooh, demo. Tab to autocomplete, baby. Think I should bite the bullet and get into... Please don't call it that. It's cryptocurrency or it's blockchain. Cryptography is cryptography. Well, I don't know. There's some stuff that's coming up that really doesn't have anything to do with cryptocurrencies that I could use some help on. And do you want to work more in Node or in Go? What are you hoping for? Okay. All right, so I need to go look and figure out what the impersonate is with this, but we can leave that token aside. Let's see. I can just do a get token, right? Hold on. Let me see again, because it's going to show me what my login token is, right? Okay. So there's my token. I think it says access token. I think it's actually an ID token. You know what? I need a way to show sessions and delete sessions. I need to put that on my list of things to do. Do we have that yet? Okay, I'm going to put that on my list of things to do, because that's actually kind of important at this stage. I think that we do have a way to show sessions. Let me see. Get API sessions, maybe off. Oh, whoops. No API, just off. Okay. Interesting. I don't remember. What is the list of, is it endpoints? Whoops. I need to go figure out. Wait, did I have it in the help? I could have sworn I put it in the help. Public versions. Okay, let me go check the README. Let me see here. Oh, I keep on putting API twice. Okay, let's try sudo dev endpoints. Okay, cool, there we go. So from here, yeah, okay, I'm gonna make a couple tasks for myself for this. Okay. Let's see what we've got up here. Get endpoints. Make a nice list of available endpoints. So get public versions, etc. Let's see. And then what was the other one I just mentioned? I think it was another get. Let me see, what did I try to do earlier? Oh, sessions. Do I have sessions in this list? This list may not contain sessions. Okay, user sessions. All right, so let's see what my sessions are right now. Oh, okay, cool. Interesting. So are these active sessions? I need a way to expire. So I need something like, sorry, I'll bring this over here for just a second just so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of documenting out what I think this should look like. So we could show active sessions, and we should show recent sessions. We could probably, I guess active in a sense would be recent. Something like that. Okay, revoked at. So most of these, it looks like they have been expired. Okay, this one is not expired, it looks like. And this one, so do we have any information in here about when this should expire? Because this seems like this one should have expired. This will be helpful because we need to know if there's sessions that are still around that should have expired that didn't. Okay, let me check messages. PR reviews would be more on Go code. Okay. I'll be forced to use Django for the backend because it's more production ready. Forced to use Django versus what? I think I missed something. I missed some context there. Forced to use Django. I would not recommend Django. I would not recommend that. That seems like a bad idea. I mean, okay. Yeah, it just seems like a bad idea. If you want to use Ruby on Rails, use Ruby on Rails. If that's what you need, use Ruby on Rails. If you have to use WordPress, throw up inside a little bit, but use WordPress. I don't think what is the use case for Django? Yeah, I don't see the first message. I don't know when it came in. I'm sorry I didn't see that. Okay. All right, so yeah, I think I just need to get this thing deployed. I think I'm just going to manually deploy this real quick just to test it out. So what do I need to do for that? I think go OS equals Linux. All right, so let's try this. Let's try go OS equals Linux. Go Arch equals x64 or AMD 64, I think is what Go calls it. Ben build. Let's remember it's not Rust, it's the Rust Foundation. Yes, but the Rust Foundation is trying to take over Rust or has taken over Rust, or I'm not sure what's going on there, right? Important distinction, yes. Rust-Lang mentioned in the last day or two that they were blindsided by the policy. Just catching up on the beginning stream. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't understand what Rust Foundation is. But it seems that they feel that they have and I mean this in the sincere terminology, a God-given right to decide the future of Rust. Ruby is, if you know Python and you know some JavaScript, I don't think Ruby would be... I think you got to get out of the mindset of... For most languages, you got to get out of the mindset of, I wish I knew that language. You know that language because all of the languages are pretty much the same. There's not, it's the libraries. The language is something, the difference between Ruby and Python, you kind of could learn those differences in a weekend. The libraries, the ecosystem, that takes years of knowledge to develop. So, usually, let's be honest, is added as something for hyperbole, or a joke, or sarcasm. But in this case, when you say they feel they own the word Rust, that is explicitly what they have declared. That's not, let's read between the lines. That's, hey, we own this is ours, and if you have a Rust meetup where you don't post a notice that firearms are not allowed, you're violating our trademark. What? How about I create a meetup and I say, if you don't have children, you're violating my trademark. Because I think that's the problem with these people, is I think that they don't have kids. Kids changes your world. Just the perspective that you are part of the human family, not just in some microcosm of San Franciscans. But I digress. I don't want to be grumpy today. I'm selling Rust merch, sue me. I don't think that they can, because the way that trademark policy works, you have to use something in trade for a trademark. Yeah, so I can explain the need for firearms very, 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 very simply. Our heritage, and I use the term we loosely because I'm not Native American. I think my family got here in the maybe they did get here in the 1800s. I think my family got here in the 1800s. Most of my family on both sides, part of the wave of immigration. So I'm not one of the pilgrims or anything, but we as in what I hold in my heart, we have a heritage where in order to escape kings and dictators and tyrants, people who are overreaching socialists, well, not really, socialist is the wrong term, but trying to construct social order according to their will. That's what I meant. I used the wrong term and I didn't mean to muddy the waters there. I reached and I grabbed the wrong word. I meant trying to coerce a social order, right? Peace is kept by guns, by firearms. That's how peace is kept. It just is. You hope that you don't have to use it, but if the more you have, the less likely you are to need. It's one of those things. So I've told this story before. I'll retell this story again. Josh, this might make a good clip for the AJ channel. So when I went to high school in Vermont, it was a completely different experience, because when I went to high school in Virginia, there were metal detectors. People had formed into somewhat culturally centric gangs. I wouldn't say they were racially centric, because race does not identify you or your thoughts or your beliefs or your mentalities. But where I grew up in Virginia it felt a little uncomfortable at times because of the social order of things. And metal detectors, whenever you walk into a room with metal detectors, you don't feel safe. You don't walk into some place with metal detectors and think, I feel a lot better now. No, it always gives you an eerie feeling of, okay, I'm unprotected and somebody else must want to get in here in a way that is probably bad. And now I'm exposed and they figure out how to get into the building and they aren't. That's kind of, But anyway, in Vermont, when you got into an argument with someone, the solution was very simple. You pulled up your pant leg, and whoever's knife in their boot was bigger won the argument. Well, it typically started out with pulling your knife out of your pocket and showing the size of your knife in your pocket. And then it progressed to showing the size of the knife in your boot leg. And I just never felt more safe than I did in Vermont. Everybody had a knife. And the rule was that the knife could only be 2.5 inches long or something like that. But people had 6 or 8 inch knives. And I never felt more safe. And people did their drugs pretty much. This one guy always had a Dasani bottle that was full of vodka. Or I don't know if it was Dasani, but whatever it was. Sprite or something like that. And he just carried it around and everybody knew it was vodka inside. Right? And then there were people, you knew, if you wanted drugs, you knew who to go to. There wasn't any question. It wasn't a big secret thing. And I never felt more safe. And when all of that stuff is out in the open, when everything's visible, it's when things are hidden and shady and sneaky. That's when it's scary. Right? It's like the good Captain Jack said, liars you can trust, but the people who tell the truth are the ones that you have to watch out for, because you don't know when they're going to lie. Right? Kind of that sort of thing. So the people get confused about the Second Amendment. They think it's for hunting. They think it's for this, that. It's not. It is solely to prevent the government from being more powerful than the people. The militia of the people should never be less powerful than the army of the government. And people say, oh, well, the army's got this, that, and the other, and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, but if it came to a civil war, the citizens would win. And that's why we have the freedoms that we have. So you don't want to have to use it, you just need to have it. I think that it is part of your responsibility as an American, not if it goes against your moral conscience or anything like that. I don't think anybody needs to do anything that violates their conscience, but it is part of your responsibility as an American to have some level of defense against the government for yourself, and your neighbors should have that too. And that's what keeps communities safe. You don't want to have to use it. You don't glorify it. You don't think, oh, I'm going to get them when they come after me. It's none of that. It's not about self-protection in the movie theater. It's not about any of that. It is about keeping the government from pulling a Nazi Germany. Because that's when the firearms go away, the Nazis come next. And this is again and 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 again throughout all of human history. When the people's arms are taken away, the Nazis come next. And that's simply what it is. That's all it is. What knife did I use? Okay, so I lost the arguments, man. I just had a little Swiss Army knife. I think at one point I might have had no, I didn't get my Kershaw until college, but I just had a little knife. I didn't win arguments that way. It sucked for me, but whatever. You win some, you lose some. Anyway, next thing that I need to do here, sorry, because we got off track, but I think I really think it's important that people understand that yes, there are Americans who get excited about their firearms. There absolutely are. That is nothing to do with the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear from the historical context that the purpose of the Constitution is so that the militia of the people can overpower the army of the government. That's it, plain and simple. It is the Second Amendment that protects all other amendments. It protects the First Amendment, and it protects from unwanted search and seizure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, I know the system breaks down. Yes, I know it's not perfect. Yes, I know that people die that are innocent that shouldn't die. Yes, I know that criminals get a hold of them. None of that matters. Because as a society, on average, we have to tend towards the ability to protect our freedoms. The government does not grant us freedoms. That is not the American belief or the American way. The American way is that the individual, the family, is ordained of God. It is given by, if you don't want to call it that, call it the universe, call it whatever. The natural right is the freedom of the individual so long as they do not captivate another individual. And yes, for all of the instances that everything goes wrong, yes, I agree, it's all true. But it is we the people grant the government rights in order to serve us. The government does not grant us rights. That's been abused. The system is really broken. There's lots of corruption, all of that. But for what remains, it remains. So that's the thing. It is very, countries do not fall into dictatorships. I mean, I could be wrong. I very well could be wrong. Show me an example, bring up some case. I could totally be wrong. But citizens of countries, they do not fall into dictatorships without the guns being taken away first. That is always historically, and there may be an odd exception that I'm not aware of because I'm in the wrong circles and or hearing the wrong stuff or whatever. But historically, time and time again throughout the millennia, the weapons get taken away before the dictatorship is instituted. And that, so there's that. Anyway, so let me get back on track here with, I'm just going to spin up an instance for myself real quick so that I have something to build on for this. So we're going to create... we're going to create... This is going to be gobuild.coolage86.duckdns.org. Alrighty. I need a little tool that will update my SSH config as well. Because I need gobuild.coolage86.duckdns.org. And then the host name is indeed this. Username is app. And now I should be able to SSH into gobuild. And why is it griping at me? Oh, I forgot to copy the proxy command. Okay, and it's griping at me because this has already been used. That's okay. 336. Okay. So let's see if I can get in there. Yes, cool. So, first thing I'm going to do is update my profile. Well, first thing I'm going to do is add Vim. And then probably some other things. I don't know what all here I'm missing. That should be enough to get us started. Oh, and I'm going to need libcap as well. And since I know I'm not going to actually really screw this up, I'm just going to go ahead and open up Etsy password. And we're going to change this to user bin fish for my shell. And so if I get out of here and go back in... What? What did I break? Huh? What? Dang it! Hold on. I was just wanting to create a build system. Come on. I'm probably going to have to give myself some more RAM and whatnot too. So PCT, enter, and then what was this? I wasn't watching the output earlier. I was admiring it, but not actually paying attention. 112. Okay. So PCT, enter, 112. Ha! Ha 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 ha! That's why. Alright, so here we are. And then if I go to config fish, config.fish, I'm just going to put in here if is interactive screen dash xrs awesome. And then that way I'm always using screen. Excellent. And then that way it won't double up. Okay. And now I can do, whoops. Do I not have Webby installed? Web install or webby.sh. Cool. And then Webby, whoops. I'll get back on chat in just a second. Thanks for the insight. I still don't agree, but now I understand what the idea is. Yeah, I don't understand the opposing argument. Well, the thing that it boils down to me is protecting the few at the expense of the many. Right? It's like vaccination. I'd put it in context of vaccination. Right? We all get vaccinated. vaccines occasionally have side effects. Sometimes those side effects are severe. Sometimes they result in death. That's real. That's been the way it's always been for the history of vaccines. But in general, we get vaccinated because a vaccine protects the many. If we were to say, oh, vaccines are dangerous, we're not going to get vaccinated. And some vaccines may be dangerous. There's things that are experimental, but I'm talking about the traditional, the way that Mother Nature has always worked, right? You get a weak form of a virus or a germ, you're in good health, your body builds up immunity to that thing. Talking about specifically the type of vaccination that's well known, that's well understood, that's based on natural science, right? I don't know about other stuff, but things that are based on natural science, and I'm sure there's some stuff that's been faked and spoofed or whatever. But the idea of what's based on natural science, the reason that it doesn't make sense to say, oh, I might die from the vaccine, therefore I'm not going to get vaccinated. Because, well, in some cases it does. I mean, there are certain circumstances that I could see that actually being true. There are certain, weird immunocompromised systems or whatever. But in the general case, if you don't have some sort of condition, then you don't say, oh, I'm not going to get vaccinated because it might kill me. Because the chance that you're going to get a disease that could cripple you for the rest of your life if you don't, maybe not right now in America, but still in other parts of the world, and could happen in America. If you don't get a vaccine, then the other thing that has a much higher probability that you could get it and die from it. And so that's the point of vaccines. So we don't, and I would say that the firearms is the same way. There are people who are going to die from the misuse of firearms. But you don't say, oh, well, we're not going to have firearms because they're going to get misused. That could be applied to a lot of things. Because it is the firearms that they are the vaccine. They are the thing that keeps us safe from the greater danger that is likely to come upon more people. And to some extent, when it comes to accidents and stuff, I think it is, people need to be responsible for sure. And I think in terms of if you go out in the public, I have mixed feelings about it because of the whole registration is the first part of the takeaway. But I think that it's just like a car. You can drive around on your own private land and do whatever you want in a car. Nobody can stop you. But the moment you go off of your private land onto somebody else's private land, or the moment that bullet goes from your private land to somebody else's private land, then, you've crossed a boundary. The moment that firearm goes from your private land to someone else's private land or to public land, you've crossed a boundary. And so I think that there is something there to be discussed, and there is some area for movement there. But yeah, someday I can go back to DuckDNS. Stupid Signat. I don't know what that means. Not your keys, not your server. Thanks for that. Okay, so let me see if we can get back on topic here. I wanted to do Webby Go. I'm looking forward. When is Go 1.21 coming out? Because I am actually looking forward to getting rid of that message. It's been a long time. Something like a year. Let's see. Go 1.21. Oops. Golang 121. No due date, 50% complete. I'm guessing it's coming in June or something. Okay. All right. Oh, no! Okay, this is actually not that big of a problem. Okay, another thing I need to do is I need to have this script actually retrieve the SSH pub key. Let's see, Webby SSH pub key. Because I want to be able to quickly say, hey, trust my build server. Let my build server download stuff. And I'm going to need this to have more RAM and this, that, and the other. So, oh gosh, I have so many tabs. I've got to have hundreds of tabs right now open. I don't know why. I don't know what to do about it. I have got a problem and I don't know how to solve it. All right. So where's Go Build at? So here's one of the really cool things that I don't have the API set up for it yet, but we are going to get the API set up for it. So one of the really, really neat things about using, I think we're going to coin the term VPX. And the reason for that is that traditional containers, we're not using a traditional container, but there's a lot of beliefs people have about traditional containers that aren't true. And so even though we are using containers, I think I'm going to call them VPXs to distinguish that it's not a VPS, but also to provide some distance from the term container, because the type of containers we're using are not the type of containers that certain stigmas that people have actually matter. But if I go in here, resources. So this is so awesome because I can say, I want to have 8192, no swap, that's fine. Give this 8, and you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and give this, you know, you can have access to all. Well, I guess it would actually be 48. But we can say this can have access to a heck of a lot, and it'll be on a 50% duty cycle, so that I'm not, you know, in the worst case scenario, I can do lots of things at a time, but I'm not clogging up CPU usage for other things in the container. So there we go. So now that doesn't require any changes. Now that happened. I click the button. This VPX now has those properties. It's that simple. Okay. So I'm going in here and I'm going to see if I can add a deploy key for the repository that I am trying to get this stuff up for. And I'll check on comments here in just a second. Oh, and Josh, there was more of the firearm discussion, and I don't think that I said anything that was I dare to say controversial, but I think that this would have to be flagged in YouTube as a controversial and political. I mean, I just you can have a different opinion on it, but you can say, oh, I don't like that idea. I think the trade-offs are worth it the other direction, whatever, and that's okay. But I don't see this as something that's, you know, a sensitive topic. And I do begrudge that it's being made into a sensitive topic. I think we should have more open and honest discussions about a lot of things, you know? Okay, so I'm in here. I'm looking at deploy keys. So I want to add a read-only deploy key. So there we go. I just added that key as a deploy key over here. So now I'm going to be able, I want to make sure that I have everything committed except for my to-dos. What were my to-dos? I don't care what my to-dos were. The main thing I need to worry about is deploying. Yeah, collect new parts. Yeah, I know about that, and I agree that I should do that, but I'm going to wait on that. Okay. And we do need to... I might just go ahead and add a branch protection on this thing. Yeah, I think I will. All right. I'm sorry, I'm on the other screen. I'm just saying require pull request. I like to require a pull request even if approvals aren't required. Require conversation resolution before pulling it in. They should quit calling it merging and start calling it pulling. Because it is, after all, a pull request. And you should be pulling, not merging. Do not allow bypassing the settings. Okay. All right, so I got that. So I'm going to